As you can see, we have a trailer again because we bought a new project and are picking it up. My good friend George is with me.
Yeah, because without George, we don't pick up any projects. If all went well, you already saw him in the previous vlog.
I'm curious how it'll turn out since we've already made a down payment and are now going to pick it up.
Yeah, I'll just see you guys there.
I spotted the GLA45 and now it's here. Georgie and I are about to charge it. I'm so excited. We just got a new project, the GLA45. It's really sick, super badass and black on black. Matte black with glossy black parts. We already know it starts. It's not losing any coolant, which is super nice. That means the coolers in the front of the car are still intact. Of course, we did take a bit of a risk. Since the car is wrapped, we can't tell what damage it may have underneath. But the wrap did protect the car in a few places. Hey, the headlight works.
But there are a lot of dirt damages and so on.
So he also has flat tires. What a machine, guys. I can't say anything else. I'm really super excited to get started on this because we've done a little bit of math and we think it's actually doable to build this car properly without having to spend too much money on it. Well, I'd say let's charge it up and take it to the workshop.
Because we're itching to get started, guys. I really want to get going on this. I think I'm about to take my first drive in my new car. Yeah, I already need to fill up the tank.
This thing automatically searches for gas stations. Sick. Here we go, guys. The first drive. Oh, the steering is really heavy. Collision. Profession SS Plus function unavailable. Power steering malfunction. C manual. Off to a great start. It's not bad and it drives well. The interior is comfortable, but I'll let a professional handle charging. Because George has done it 100 times already. George, it's your task. I'll help guide you. Oh, those wheels are tilted under that car like that. Slowly. A bit to the left. Yes. Ooh, yes, come on.
Shall I take a look at the other side? Yes, this is going well. This is going well. A little to the left. George. Should we winch him?
I saw a tow hook in the back.
We'll make it. Yeah, it's going well. Go ahead, you're there. Georgie, this thing sounds sick.
What are you checking out?
I think it's a button for the exhaust, but
That valve doesn't do that?
you can hear it rattling.
But the windshield wiper doesn't do that either.
I think it just opens with the hood.
I kept pulling that windshield wiper lever the whole time. So the hood is open, that's it.
Why do you think he didn't want to drive on it?
There's a lot of pressure.
It's too steep and the wheels are tilted.
All kinds of malfunctions.
Yeah, collision malfunction means it crashed. I think you fell for it yourself. We're going to secure it onto the tow truck now. Take it to the workshop and I'll see you there. I actually just want to start stripping those panels right away, take the wrap off, then we can estimate what it's all going to cost.
Really? Exactly, actually.
A little hole.
Finger in.
Oh yeah, here we go, off to the workshop.
With our new project.
Too weak? Turn off the blower? Hopper, come on. Attempt 2, it's doing something.
It's not turning on. Really weird.
Well guys, we had to use a whole web of jumper cables because those thin action jumper cables, man. You can't even jump start a yellow one with them. The ground wire is just too thin, the positive is too thin, you really just shouldn't buy them. Unless you have an IGO or similar, then they're useful. Glad it's coming off. Well guys, we've got another beauty. Followers who've been with us for a while, including on Instagram twins.tv_, know we used to have GLA45. This is the GLA crossover, a bit higher, a bit cooler, 20-inch wheels. Alright guys, I'd say enough talking, let's put the beast on the lift and raise it up. Because I'm curious to see what the real damage is. There might be something hidden underneath. We're about to find out. Let's go. also replaced the defective battery. So this one has an aero package, carbon mirror caps, a panoramic roof, bucket seats, a large screen, and a striped dashboard with red stitching. The Mercedes is now on the lift, so it's time to start dismantling the parts and see what we need for the repairs.
We've already started making lists. And of course, we don't know what the underlying damage is. So now we're going to remove the bumper, remove the side panels. Let's go.
What strikes me is how incredibly dirty this is. It's unbelievable. Brakes are completely worn out.
Maybe that's why he had a crash.
Yeah, these actually aren't perforated all the way through, just small holes drilled in. And those things are completely worn out. Huge edge on the brake disc, brake pads worn out. Yeah, he needs a brake job. On.S just removed the front bumper, and the damage isn't as bad as we thought. It's actually about what we expected. Yeah, we've already seen the pricey items like the full front bumper. Used, it starts at about 2,700 euros all included. Each new original headlight costs about 1,000 euros. We also saw that a few small sensors are broken. Also the washer pump, and the lines going to the washer. All in all, it's not too bad for now. In another episode, of course, we'll take off the wrap. What I'm curious about is whether there might be a color difference on the car. I'm really curious about that. Sometimes people want to wrap a car if it's been painted badly or not painted at all. Maybe it's just been repaired. That can happen too. Here, we've taken a big risk by buying a wrapped car. But we'll tell you all about that in a future episode. We've also seen that we've been incredibly lucky because here's your crash sensor. And it's attached to your bumper beam right here at the back. And if it had taken an even harder hit, then our dashboard airbag would have gone off too. And also our steering wheel airbag, and maybe even the knee airbag. You end up with an even bigger expense, so we were actually lucky. Should we remove the headlight now?
I'll take care of it.
You're my right-hand man, right? Can you get a screwdriver? So if you buy a headlight, new or used, the modules are often not included. This is actually because you can get a blank headlight, and that's much cheaper than a complete headlight. As you can see, we also have the intelligence light system. Expensive word, man, but yeah, those modules are really pricey. And I hope that they still work for us. Then we can just transfer everything into our new headlights. They are nice things, huh? But what expensive jet setters? I don't think we're going to need those anymore. It's always good to keep things. I'd say just glue that headlight on and go. Marvelous. And then I hear you thinking, how will you know how to put the car back together later? Experience. Everything, the way it comes apart, that's how it goes back together. Only then, the other way around. And of course, we make different containers with screws and bolts for where everything comes from. That way we have a front bumper with wheel arches and a separate container for the headlights. Just like that, the AMG looks much better, right? So I say, shut the hood and let's go.
Seriously? We almost had a heart attack. We thought, what did we buy? Check this out.
From above, it looks like the control arm has been torn out of the body.
Yeah, we looked from above and we just saw a loose corner. Here, and then we thought, yeah, that's where the problem is?
Yeah, then we thought no, and then we started comparing it, and here it's just exactly the same. So
It's really done in a very vague way.
when you see it from above like that, you'd say it just doesn't look right or something, right?
Well, Lucky, you nearly broke your heart.
Yeah, no, we're just gonna continue now, of course, by removing the side panels, which is what we were actually working on.
It's going smoothly and going well. We're starting to feel like this project is nearly finished. We've already covered the BMW 1 Series. Haven't seen it yet? Check it out. There's a playlist for it too. And the crazy thing about that was the whole car was completely wrecked. Really seriously wrecked. And it was just screw damage, right? No straightening work needed. Bumper beams just slid right in easily. That was really nice. This one doesn't need any of that, right?
A little bit of good luck, all in all.
I did notice one thing. The windshield washer reservoir has popped out of its place. So yeah, this is just a matter of putting it back where it belongs. And then,
Yeah, that's a bit dislocated, huh?
That's it.
I'd say put on a new steering rod and hit the gas, guys. Let's go.
a car can transform in just hours. Now we're in front of a fully stripped GLA45 AMG. You just saw me with the grinder. I just cut off the side panels. This is just to make it easier for us to see what the actual damage is. In the future, of course, we'll have to remove the inner structures in a proper way, but that's not necessary right now. We had to replace the side panels anyway, so let's just make it easy. Just to note down what we need, just cut them off. As you can see, we've temporarily removed the front bumper to check which parts remain intact and which can be detached. For example, there's an aftermarket grille installed and it's been glued in several places. Fortunately, I was able to detach the adhesive from the bumper support so we can keep that part. Besides that, the front bumper just has a small part that's broken. It's also easily replaceable. Besides that, of course, we still need to decide which grille we want in the future. Do we want a Panamericana or do we want an original one? We think the original looks nice too. It also offers another benefit. Your cooling package is always better protected. With the Panamericana, there are actually a lot of openings, which means there's a big chance that a stone could go through and just damage your radiator. That's something you definitely don't want. Yeah, besides that, the headlights are broken too. Fortunately, the modules are still there. We don't know yet if the modules are working properly. We'll find out when we reinstall the headlights. The wiring harness is intact. The frame rails that run along the top. This one is straight and so is this one. Only, unfortunately, this one is a bit bent. But of course, we're going to change that in the future. We have special tools for that, and that's something you should look forward to as well. And of course, yes, mounting a wheel. What we still need to do, the wrap still has to come off. So there's plenty of content with this car. It won't be wrapped again? Well, maybe. But first, it's off to the paint shop. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to putting the thing back together soon. But first, it's important for us to get all the parts and then put this thing back together. Here I am, sitting in our latest acquisition, the GLA45 AMG. As you can hear, it does start. But there's something seriously wrong. Of course, we would never have bought a GLA45 without any damage. Just for the content alone, it's an awesome car. And the driving experience takes it to the next level. The car is wrapped, which is already a big risk when buying one like this. I'm just curious if the original color still looks good underneath. As you can see, it's just black. I just want everything outside the car in glossy black, no filler spots or odd details. And besides that, of course, we're also going to install some new parts on the car. So we have original headlights for that, and there are a lot more parts coming in. I just want to take the wrap off. I'm just curious if it's original. Keep your fingers crossed, guys. Let's go. We're 10 minutes in, and that's how long it takes to remove your wrap. I think it's going slowly. But the good news is that the hood seems to have its original color, so I'm really happy about that. Stay seated a bit longer, we're not done. Let's go. As you can see, we've grabbed the hairdryer again. This makes removing the wrap very easy, since I feel like the glue is dissolving a bit, which makes it lose its adhesion. As you can see, we're now working on the left rear side panel, and that's quite a process. It also takes a lot of time. It takes me about an hour to work on a single panel, so just imagine what you see here has taken about 3 to 4 hours of work. This is actually also because we had to remove and refit the door handles. As you can see, I'm completely done with the left rear door. I had to take off this trim for that, and I also had to remove the door handle. And man, there's a lot of work involved in that, guys. Just wrapping a car is a process, and then you have to imagine removing it later. It takes so much time, I really underestimated that. It's super satisfying because you see results from your work really quickly. I also think the gloss looks really nice.
Let's keep stripping the car and get as much done today as we can since all the wrap needs to come off.
Alright guys, it's a new day here, and I'm back again. It's about 11:30 now. So I've already spent a few hours removing the last bit of wrap that's still on the car. Unfortunately, the car is still completely covered in sticker residue. It's even a bit sticky. I don't know how long the wrap has been on, but it was a huge job to get it all off. So before we can actually move on to anything else, I want to remove the sticker residue from the car. I'm going to do that with a product called Tar Ampersand Glue Remover. Hopefully it'll all be done, and then we can replace the bent fuse for us. A new inner tie rod for the steering rack has arrived, and we'll replace this one too.
The final result is taking shape. We still need to install the new headlights.
Yeah guys, this thing is going to be awesome. Let's go.
I've lifted the car briefly to show you exactly what's bent.
As you can see, this is our steering rod, and this bend shouldn't be here. It's supposed to be straight. And we also suspect that our knuckle is bent, so we're going to replace that as well. So we're going to lower the car, disconnect the strut, disconnect the tie rod end, and once it's back on its wheels, we'll finally wash it. As you can see in the footage, I've removed the inner tie rod. It's really bent. That's just unbelievable. It just took a massive hit. Just check out how it looks. I marked the nut's location with tape. I also counted the turns of the nut. There were 24 in total, so I'm going to turn it back on for 24 turns as well. And then the ball joint can be reinstalled in its original position. It's important that you put it back as close as possible to the old alignment. Naturally, the car will need alignment after replacing something like this. We're reinstalling this part. Let's see how it goes. Let's go. I borrowed special spring clamps from my neighbor. Here they are. I'll use them to compress the spring. And as you know, the spring is under tension. You can't just remove it like that, so we're going to use this set. Then you can clamp the spring and release it from the top, and then you can open everything up.
Well, the axle shock absorbers are mounted back in place. It wasn't a really difficult job to replace it. It actually went pretty smoothly, pretty easily. You just have to make sure that the coil spring goes back into exactly the same position in the plates, so that it actually gets the same ride height and that it's just properly in place the way it's supposed to be.
I think my little brother was actually right.
Because now the negative camber is completely gone and it's standing up nice and straight again, just like this side.
And yeah, that one was broken.
I'm going to put the wheels back on and I'm going to install the headlight because we've received new original headlights.
I'll mount those back on the car to check if the modules work. I'm excited to drive it.
And hopefully we can also clear our steering rack errors soon, because our steering rack isn't working either, but there's an error somewhere, so it's probably just related to the accident. Everything likely just needs a reset or relearning. Let's go.
I've just installed the headlight modules. I just learned a corner here is broken, so I can only use 3 bolts to secure it. When you buy a headlight like this, you expect it to be fully intact and complete.
In the end, when installing things like this, you always find another broken corner.
It's a shame the module is properly in place. It's time to install the headlight. And I'm really curious to see if they'll turn on because, yeah, they've taken quite a hit and I just hope our modules are still intact.
So, we're going to install the headlights. We're going to give the car its eyes back just like it's supposed to be.
And guys, looks good, right? As you know, we have a tray for all the headlight bolts, so we keep everything together.
This isn't the final position where it's going to be. In the end, everything will be aligned once the bumpers are on.
We've already begun the rebuild.
It's amazing how quickly things move.
Episode 3 car ready?
Without plugging it in, they won't touch the headlights.
Unless they're Bluetooth?
They're only 20-inch rims, guys. They're just 20 inches. The moment's here, guys. Let's see if our headlights work. I really hope so. I don't want to spend more money on them, so we'll see.
I've got them on the left, but nothing on the right. Hey, the right has dynamic turn signals.
So cool.
What a letdown, guys. We probably should have expected it wouldn't work out the first time.
Headlights are often a problem with new car models.
I'd say let's hook up the diagnostic tool and see which error codes come up, because we don't know about this car yet. Except that there's a Christmas tree lit up on our dashboard, so I'll grab our diagnostic device and we'll read it out. 71 errors found, engine very bad. After everything is removed, we hope the car will eliminate about 80% of its faults. Then the real faults will remain, and hopefully we can address them.
And maybe it will already solve some problems. Maybe our headlights will start working. Maybe the power steering will turn on.
As you know, it's an electric steering rack. The car may have been affected by that impact or low battery voltage. It needs to be relearned. 11 errors have returned, but it's complete.
I'm curious.
That's better now. It's not so bad anymore. This is bad. Oddly, the backlights still work. Can you turn on the left indicator? Yes, that works. The front brake light is on. Turn on the left indicator. That works too.
Oh, sorry. Right indicator. Yes, left indicator. So that one doesn't work either.
And the mirror, and nothing works in the front at all. Personally, I think it's related to the collision warning on the display, especially since we also lack power steering. And hey, we can still check the fuses. Maybe we should do that. The fuses were fine. Unfortunately, I didn't find anything there that could have triggered that collision warning. You worked hard to make that car's exterior shine, didn't you?
I removed all the sticker residue, so then it just goes back to the way it was. But in the wheel wells underneath, it's like you've been through a Sahara. We'll jack up the car and thoroughly brush and wash the underside. That's what a car like this deserves. Let's go.
I can't say it drives well since it lacks power steering and has a flat left rear tire.
But anyway, it's never been this clean before.
Yeah, but at least it drives. It makes sense to check tire pressure if you have a flat.
One thing we noticed is that it sounds really awesome in sport mode. This thing definitely has a tune on it, no doubt about it. It's definitely not stock anymore.
Because as you know, it does have a downpipe, so maybe the car is chipped.
I think you always combine those, you know, a downpipe with a chip, because otherwise you wouldn't do that, I guess. But it sounds awesome.
We'll have to find out later if the car drives well, since we have a flat tire we can't fix. The hole is just as big as his finger. Yes, we've ordered tires, but they didn't arrive in time for a proper test drive. We also still have collision mode on. That's why, unfortunately, we don't have power steering, or so we think.
And all those dashboard errors.
Finally, it actually looks like an AMG again, right? When it's that dirty, I almost find it sad to see a car like that.
I could get used to this, guys. An AMG. I think the neighbors will like it too. It's gotten so clean, hasn't it? Unbelievable.
Well, let's check underneath as well, because that's how it works, right? To see if it's really factory new. This is definitely a lot better, but I'm still going to wipe it down a bit. I can already see that. Actually, we should already be satisfied with this. Who details the bottom of their car these days? Yeah, it's just night and day difference, guys. So here we are next to a clean AMG. Now that it's completely clean, we can walk around it for a bit. To show you all the damages, since you know about the front, but not the others.
We also have a big dent in our door panel. Yeah, not too big of a job for the painter, of course.
Here's another dent that needs pulling out, plus some of our own repair. A little bumper, you saw that of course. There's the unwrapping and the diffuser that has a bit of damage. The rims also still have quite a bit of damage all around, and they need to be powder coated again, but those aren't our biggest concerns. We're also scheduling major service on the AMG since it hasn't had maintenance in years. We need to do this before the first test drive. The hose clamps and wheel arches have arrived. Guys, I'm really looking forward to getting the beast ready for its first test drive. Let's get started quickly. I think we'll start with a maintenance check and then we'll put the panels on. We have a lot to do, so let's start quickly. Let's go. Well, the spark plugs and the air filter have both been replaced, and I have to say that went pretty smoothly. One spark plug was tricky to install because it had to go in at an angle. That's this one. This pipe here from the intercooler was kind of in the way.
And if you have a GLA45 or an A45 or a CLA45, then this is definitely something you should watch out for.
Those are these hoses, like with this one too, it's pretty worn out and you really need to be careful with that. Because the engine cover, it vibrates against that line and then that line gets damaged. I'm going to start the car now. I prefer to replace the spark plugs in a cold engine rather than a warm one, so I'm going to start the car now. I can already check if the spark plugs are good, and besides that, I'm going to let the oil warm up now so I can drain the oil more easily.
And then the engine part of the service is pretty much done. We're going to start the car now.
It still amazes me every time how good this thing already sounds. It's incredible. As you can see, my oil temperature is already getting pretty warm. It's been idling for about 15 minutes now. I think it's run enough. We're going to drain the oil. Let's go. I always find it impressive to cut open the old oil filter, just to see the condition of the engine. This lets you check for metal, copper, or aluminum shavings, which could indicate engine damage. With us, it actually looks completely clean, so the engine service is fully completed. Now we're going to replace the front brake discs and brake pads first. And I can tell you one thing, they are gigantic brake discs. Well, I think they're comparable to the ones on the front of the Lamborghini Gallardo. Put a nice song underneath. We're just going to smash those brakes. Let's go.
The first brake disc and new pads have been installed. And what actually stood out to me about the brake pads themselves is that there's an arrow on them. The strange thing is, I had flipped through the manual for a moment.
For the Brembo brake pads we bought, there's nothing mentioned about the arrow on the brake pad.
That's odd, since the original Mercedes brake pads also have an arrow marking.
And that one points upward, as you can see, and mine points downward.
And the weird thing is, I think those arrows are meant to indicate the rotation direction of your wheel.
So that actually means that the brake pads that were in there were actually mounted the wrong way around. They put an arrow on a brake pad for a reason. I just installed it. I believe it's correct to align it with your wheel's rotation. I'll proceed with the right side. And once the brakes are on, we'll finally continue with the rebuild of this project. The fenders and bumpers will be installed. This will be an awesome project once it's running. Stay tuned. I'll spare you the camera footage of how to change a brake disc and brake pad since we've just seen the other side.
So here's a camera trick. And now the brake discs and brake pads are installed here as well. Now we can continue with the rear.
And that's what we're getting to now.
The left rear tire is so badly punctured that we can't even repair it. The hole is gigantic.
Look, my finger can fit in it.
Yeah, the tires we bought for this were super cheap. Only 55 euros each.
Now you'll all hate us in the comments. So, why do you put such bad tires on the back? This one has curb damage. And this one has a lot of curb damage.
And the weird thing is, we still haven't decided whether we're going to put new rims on this car. The main thing is it must roll now and drive normally for the first test drive. And that's why we went for super cheap car tires. The ones in the front aren't much better either. Those have milestone on them.
Those aren't much more expensive. Around 55 euros each.
And we thought, yeah, we're not going to invest 250 euros right now in really good tires all around.
That's nearly 1,000 euros just for tires on this car, though we might choose different wheels later. And we're going to replace the tires now, because we took our tire machine out of our service van and it's here now. It's rusty, but it always works, so we're going to replace the rear tires now. And then it will be completely ready for a first test drive, except for the body parts, because we'll install those later. Let's go. The 3-star Sport Power 2.
Wow, crazy band, guys. Well, I don't think so. But like I just said, the tires are only for making a first test ride.
If the car's good, we'll likely invest in new rims and tires.
We're now arriving at something that's going to make a difference with this car, namely bumpers. Bumpers, fenders. What a job this is.
Before we can actually put the bumpers on, we need to replace a few things, like a windshield washer pump and the washer hose. This one is broken off. So yeah, those are actually the little things, the time-consuming things that still need to be done before the bumpers can go on. Of course, we also mentioned this, that we're still going to straighten this out here, but we'll do that at Spudere Press, where the car will be painted later.
He's gonna show us the best way to do this bodywork. With all that said, we're just going to replace the nozzles and the hoses.
Now we reach the main bumper parts. Let's go.
Welcome back. It's a new day, and as promised, we'll prepare the car for its first test drive.
Later, a guy will come who will actually clear all the errors for us, and for that, the car just needs to be complete. Parking sensors need to be connected. Actually, all the sensors need to be in place so that we can't get any errors from there. Before we can start with that, we're first going to mount the side panel, and as you know, we've also cut the AHO loose. We need to expertly detach that, which requires removing the side skirt.
Just keep going with assembling our AMG. Let's go.
Mercedes really thought that through. We don't have to remove the entire side panel, just loosen a few screws. If it can move a bit to the side, you can actually get to it right away. It's always nice to buy a damaged car complete.
So without disassembling the parts,
Because, as you can see, for example, if you buy a side panel, this one is original. We really tried to get everything original. But as you can see, there's a clip on this one and not on this one. And just imagine if you had to order all those little things separately from the dealer. Yeah, then you just waste time trying to arrange everything. And this way, we can just remove our trimmed mudguard. Then we can put it on our new mudguard. This way, we can actually
just mount it right away. So that's what we're going to do.
Even the small brackets are not skipped because this is a bracket that holds the splash guard. We've ordered everything new, even the small things. Nothing is missed, so this bracket will be replaced and reinstalled. And because of that, you just know that everything will be in the right place later. We're arriving at the front bumper, and this front bumper was actually delivered completely blank. So that means there's just no inner structure in it, except for the headlight washers. We have to transfer quite a bit here from our old bumper. And that's also the nice thing I just mentioned, that if your car is complete, you can just transfer all of that as long as it's intact. I actually asked the dealer if all these parts are available separately, and that's not the case. If you order a bumper from the dealer, this is included. This is actually always included, but in our case, since we bought a second-hand bumper, it wasn't included. But because we kept our old parts, we can transfer them. And that's the nice thing about having everything. We're going to try to hang the bumper for a moment without actually transferring all those inner supports yet. This is actually because the car will be taken apart again soon at the paint shop. We've received a new wiring harness, including sensors. Of course, it's used because those things are extremely expensive when new. As you can see, ours is torn off on the left front side, and we also get a few extra sensors. So what we're going to do is install this little grille because we'll need it later if we want to make the car free of errors. And it's a bit of a puzzle because soon it will have to come apart again. With that said, we're going to transfer the wiring harness, little grille in, and then we're going to try to hang the bumper at the corners at the front without actually transferring the whole interior. So that's our plan of action. Let's go. The front bumpers are in place. Now it's time to mount the wheels and start fixing the faults, I think. First, we connected our battery to a trickle charger. This is a requirement when you're going to do programming. As you can see, we've managed to get our hands on a Mercedes-Benz diagnostic tool. And unfortunately, the programming didn't go as expected, so our problem still hasn't been solved. As you've seen, we've been busy diagnosing the Mercedes. We've discovered a few things, namely that we're missing an air quality sensor, which is supposed to be in the front left of the bumper. That's actually really important for your air conditioning system and other components, because it uses that to check how clean the air is. It's wild that a Mercedes is so smart. Also, our Copland modules are defective. The diagnostic tool can see them but can't access them. And that often means that there's an internal fault or they're broken. So both of our headlights were broken. It also stayed outside in the rain and even in the snow for a long time. So those modules are at the bottom of the headlight. They just filled up with water. And yeah, that's why they're broken. Now we also know what we're going to order. We'll replace both headlight modules and the xenon module together, so all modules are replaced at once. This won't stop us from doing our first test. We just did a quick lap here on the premises and we heard a noise coming from the front left. It turns out that our stabilizer bar could still be tightened just a bit more.
Now that I've done that, the noise is gone.
The car is rising again because the previous owner's front right tire pressure sensor broke and was kept in the trunk. We're glad, since the dashboard warned us a tire pressure sensor was missing. And what do you know?
It broke at the valve, which almost always happens. And what we managed to arrange is that we had a BMW valve lying around. And it just works, you can simply swap them over.
So for all the Mercedes haters who drive a BMW and a Lozon, those parts actually fit together pretty well. Remember, don't hate too much, guys.
We look like a BMW garage working on a Mercedes. People will hate us for it.
10 out of 10, right?
Doesn't mean anything, huh? 10 Newton.
Wow, that's going pretty fast, huh? He mainly spins all four wheels. But not the thruster, what did you expect? This thing is sick. Guys, welcome to our first test ride video, and this thing is definitely not stock anymore. We're going to do some research in this car's manual in a moment because the previous owner called us. Actually, he sent us a message via Instagram. And he said, take a look in the manuals, there's a pleasant surprise in there. So we're going to go through that with you in a moment.
But this car is sick.
You also see this screen which you can activate on AMG models. And check this out, you can see the power that's running, kilowatts and Newton meters. The previous owner has already modified this car.
Actually, I misspoke. Not the previous owner, but the one before. We also spoke to them. The first owner imported this car from Germany in 2017.
It has an aftermarket class 5 alarm with a tracking system. We only found that out recently as well when we were looking for the fuse box under the glove compartment. So if you try to steal this car, we're guaranteed to find it back. Yeah, and so the first owner who imported it from Germany, he also wrapped the car matte black, put on a different downpipe and actually customized it a bit. Pretty much how it was when we had it. The previous owner who wrecked it. The story goes like this. He was in Turkey. You all guessed that correctly. Based on that yellow sticker on the windshield, he had a little accident. Someone crashed into him during a wedding in Turkey. He just left the car on the side of the highway. It's a crazy story, but that's what happened. We spoke to him, but he didn't want to be on camera, otherwise we would have recorded it. He wanted to stay anonymous. He had an accident in Turkey and parked the car on the highway's side, thinking, what am I supposed to do with that car? He called the Mercedes dealer in Turkey, who said they could fix it if he brought it in, but the quote was quite high. And then he thought, we'll just take it to the Netherlands. And then, here in the Netherlands, the insurance company declared it a total loss, given the damage it had, and that's when we bought it. That's the story, and this is it. Our A45 that we had is nothing compared to this car. That one was still completely stock. And this one is tuned, and that's what we're getting to now. That four-wheel drive, I just can't get enough of it.
Curious if I could drift it.
What happened? We haven't looked in the booklets yet, but the previous owner told us to check the booklets to find a form in there. So that's what we're going to do now. This is also the first time we're actually looking in the booklets. Car report, a manual. I see quite a lot of maintenance stuff. All German things. Makes sense. What's this?
Immobilizer certificate, ATM chip tuning powered by technology, Nissan GTR tuning certificate. Okay, well, so it has a standard power of 374 horsepower. And they measured 498 Newton meters, and at ATM chip tuning, it went up to 414 horsepower and 654 Newton meters. Wow, so we have 414 horsepower, guys. Yeah, we definitely felt that. Stage 1 chip tuning costs 840 euros extra. For stage 2 with a downpipe, you upgrade to stage 2.
Power output chart. And those pops and bangs don't sound standard either.
No, but that's also because it's basically straight piped. So it just doesn't have any mufflers anymore except when it's in comfort mode. It closes the right valve, still passes through a muffler, and stays pretty quiet. I think it's well made. Actually, we're super happy with this car, maybe even happier than with a Ferrari, and we see that in the comments too. We should do projects like the GLA more often because, yeah, I don't know. This may be easier for viewers to access than a Ferrari project, but remember, a Ferrari costs 2 or 3 times more than this car. And we make content out of that, and the views are just the same as for a GLA AMG. Does this reflect on our viewers, or is cheaper project content just as good as supercar content? So that's something we're really going to think about more often, like, okay, should we look for less exclusive cars then? But just stick to GTs and AMGs, which we might find even cooler than supercars. Let us know in the comments. Let me say, let's add some slow-mos and enjoy this car. Let's go! Yeah, guys, the AMG driver's package is on it. Look, it's really on there. I think we really have to test it like an AMG driver too. So that's what we're going to do now. What a machine, man. That sound, all those pops and bangs just completed. Steer the other way. Rally driving with Daniel. Oh, this is good.
When I was standing here and he drove through that puddle, I realized, okay, maybe I'm standing in the wrong spot after all.
But anyway, we didn't get wet. I think it was just a meter away, right? Sound check. I don't think it's clear enough on camera how insane this thing sounds, and I'm standing in the mud. Dancia, seriously, you made the whole car dirty. But it also got a bit washed by those puddles, so who detailed the underside again? My shot. I just want to put on my seatbelt, Don, because you're an AMG driver. I'm trying to keep the camera as steady as possible for you guys. Yeah, I think we need to drive to a car wash now. That's our next stop. Because all the mud needs to come off before the car dries.
What did the booklet say about the Newton meters?
615 Newton.
He didn't hit that on my gauge.
Not yet, right?
No, because he should have 615 newtons just on the test bench, but here, I don't think it showed more than 400, I think.
420, yeah.
We were also going to test launch control.
It almost makes me want to throw up.
That's crazy, that's really crazy because...
Why is he doing that now?
Now the launch control is working.
And the whole time we wanted to show it, it didn't work. That's why we said we'd come back to it later. We expected bad news, but it worked, which is strange. How is that possible?
And what made it work now all of a sudden, but not just before?
Well, you see, now it's not working again.
Race won't start, and I'm doing exactly what I did before. And I expected it was because of that engine management light that's on, which triggered a certain safety feature. But this is really very strange.
Due to the steps needed to put a GLA45 or A45 into race mode or launch control.
Put it in sport mode.
But that's what I just did. I came from comfort mode. No, I came from comfort mode. I paused and thought, nice, let me try launch control. So I switched to Sport Plus.
Just hit the brakes.
I press the brake, pull the paddles towards me. Race start not possible.
So you wonder, what am I doing wrong? That's just the procedure to activate launch control mode. And they did that on purpose. So you can't actually use launch control at every traffic light. So yeah, I have no idea.
I would say, let's wash the car for a while. This makes no sense. I don't get why it works sometimes and not others.
It's really strange. You're seeing him for the first time now, right?
Wow. Let's review the damage and what needs fixing. Are you surprised by the spots?
No.
You've seen crazier things?
A small spot. Yes.
What do you think of it?
Yes, it's a bit inward. We'll pull it out. Also, the gap by the bumper is slightly bigger. So it went inward like that, which is why it's out of alignment.
It's not broken off, so that helps, of course.
No, we'll pull it from here, and then it'll be fine again.
We also noticed a few spots here on the door right away. Not too surprising, right, when you look at it like this? Yeah.
Yeah, same story, just pull it out and do some spotting.
The side panel we installed is a slightly different black, so it needs painting. We also still need to do the bumper.
And we still haven't decided whether to keep the grille, because in the comments we got completely roasted for this not being an AMG.
Well, and we still have another side panel that needs to be done. So all in all, it's not that bad, I think, right?
Yes, definitely.
The way the doors are open here, I can already see that you've grown, boy, because there are 2 doors.
Yes, that's right.
So you've actually doubled in space?
Doubled. The spray booth has doubled.
Let's go inside and review everything you've done. It's really nice.
We used to have an old spray booth, so I replaced it with 2 new ones. Now we can handle more production.
I see you handle both real damage repairs and classic cars, so you take on any job that comes in, right?
Yeah, that's right.
If customers want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
They can send a WhatsApp message or an email to info@rypress.nl.
Glad to be back. We're fixing the GLA again and driving it in. Let's go.
With the car inside, where do we start?
The bumper can come off, and then the fenders
Okay.
and the headlights.
We'll take care of that. We can do that. So you're letting me remove the diffuser?
Haha.
Do you have a GLA45 AMG and you're missing your diffuser? Then this is the reason why.
It's all pretty loose.
I left it loose on purpose since it was fully wrapped, so we could easily take it apart for the paint shop later. We assemble everything with just 2 or 3 screws for fast results.
That side panel comes off in no time. Max has almost got the rear bumper off, so it's going super fast. I think it'll be back on the road in about an hour, guys, painted and all.
We've only been here 5 minutes and that car is already transformed. Now it can continue.
The front bumper has been stripped, and Max noticed a few spots on the front bumper that actually need a bit more attention than we thought.
Here, a small dent needs to be taken out. It needs a bit of filler, or maybe melt in a piece of plastic. And besides that, yeah, a lot of scratches. It's just a matter of sanding and priming. This area isn't very smooth either. I think it was filled before.
And we just buy a bumper unseen online, and then we just assume that such a bumper will be delivered complete, first of all. It wasn't, and secondly, it already has some repairs done to it, because Max has already noticed that.
I did get in touch with Max to ask if I could buy a red bumper to have it painted in the right black color.
That's possible, but the reverse is more problematic.
Now comes the fun part, sanding or something. What's next, Max?
First, we'll remove the dents by pulling this one out. So that this line runs smoothly, we need the fender again as a reference point to check, and maybe a bit of spotter work too, because from here it gets a bit tougher. And then you'll be left with this little dent that needs to be spot welded. Here it's got a kink and sticks out too far, also that back corner. And that one looks less bad here than expected, because if you look at it from here you can see that it was actually hit here. And because of that, this piece of metal bent down and it started to kink here. This one is also bent inward, so if you keep it under tension you can click it back and then you'll be left with this little dent, and you only need to spot weld that.
Did you listen? Next time you'll do it yourselves. I said sanding, but we'll fix the dents first. Let's go. That line, if you look at it like this, it's really good, man. Just that dent here a little bit, but other than that, the line is just sublime. It's nice to see you standing with your hands behind your back. He used to do all the work himself, but after a few years and some upgrades, he has staff handle it now. I'm proud of you, Max. Link in the description for spray work, spray or prez, you know it. With all the dents removed, it's finally time for me to roll up my sleeves. Max is finally going to do something too. His hands are really itching by now, so we're just going to sand the side of the car. Some parts, such as a fuel cap, need disassembly. Door handles need to come off, trim pieces need to come off again, the mirror needs to come off. Guys, I'm going to put you on a tripod and we're just going to get started. Let's go. How do you know how much filler you need to apply in terms of thickness?
Yeah, just what your gut tells you. If you notice, it's totally yellow now with no metal showing and a smooth surface. That's what you want. Then it should be good for a first coat.
Then you just sand everything down.
Like here, it's too high, I already know that. Still, I choose to put a layer of filler over it first. We'll start sanding soon, and you'll see the results here right away.
It gets a little island, how do you say that? That you can see the metal coming through?
Once you see the metal, stop sanding since you can't remove metal by sanding. But then around it, you've built a kind of strength, something that holds it in place. And then you can very carefully tap it inward. So then you're actually making a very small dent, so to speak.
Yes, guys, it's a new day, and we're continuing with the AMG as planned. Max has removed another dent, and I think we'll just stick on the rest now and sand it down. Besides that, all the other things that need to be painted also need to be sanded, of course. Is it better to do that by machine or hand?
Yeah, just use the machine and do the edges by hand.
Okay, and which grit do we use for that?
500, and then we do it with 800.
Details matter. If the sander hits something, you'll instantly get a scratch. I'm just trying to protect things that don't need to be hit, adding a little extra safety with a golden line. The bumper will be removed and reattached at least 10 more times, so I'll do it now and add a golden line. So I'm sure we won't damage the bumper when we remove or install it.
I just want Max to be proud of me, even if only once. Why isn't he sticking this?
Wrong side.
No, I get it already.
Oh, he's old.
Yeah, because he can hear, right?
Yeah, he can hear.
No, it's going well.
So you still have shiny spots here. Everything should be completely matte, as you can see. So you can really take your time. Remove those edges properly. They're well built up. Where there's filler, you don't need to go over it for too long, because then you'll just remove it again. Just a bit around it, you know.
The part that actually just needs to be replaced. Yeah, that's what I'm going to spend my time on because, yeah, don't you also feel bad for Max, right? For a part that's actually so cheap, how would you handle this? Because there's a layer of filler on here. How do you get that off? Just with this as well? Just kind of go along it like this? That's quite a thick line here, so to speak.
Yeah, that's right. I made that on purpose.
Making the line this sharp is tough. You're not helping since the filler will still dry later anyway. But so,
If you start here, then at that corner.
by the way, are you a master?
Yes, that's right.
So people can intern here?
Yes, officially a training company.
Yes, well, good to know, because yes, then I'm in the right place here.
Look, basically, you always have to choose a place to start.
Yes, I've sanded this area in both directions.
And this blends in really nicely, but here you can still see that it doesn't really blend in color.
No, that's right. You can feel it too.
So then you just sand it with the flatness of this.
I just learned you should sand lightly along those lines to avoid removing them entirely.
Yeah, but this is a flat part, so it's a different shape from the rest.
Yeah.
So that's where I start, and I just stick to this shape. And you just keep sanding until it blends in like now.
Yeah.
Well, then you have another little thing here. It runs into a sort of little ball. Then I also make a bowl-shaped movement. First we make a sharp angle because this one is naturally a bit rounder. That's actually the very last thing we do. So first we make it way too sharp and then we finish it off.
Just finish it off.
To make it rounder.
I've actually just been busy with the machine. I'm sanding all of this with 500 grit and then with 600 grit with water to actually get the smoothest result. We've finished the two fenders and we've also sanded down the front bumper completely. Max stopped by for a moment to touch up the imperfections again with some filler. I'm going to sand this down now, then it'll be completely ready for the primer tomorrow. Because tomorrow the car will be completely primed. At least the spots where the filler is will be primed. And after that, it's time to sand again. Sanding removes imperfections, creates a smooth surface, and allows color to be applied. I'm curious, since putting in more time leads to a better result. So, I still want Max to do a final check before the primer goes on, although the primer can also be sanded quite a bit. So yeah, but I'm excited because the gem is only going to get even more beautiful soon. And even more beautiful and even more beautiful. As you can see, today the AMG is being painted, and before we can do that, the AMG still needs to be primed. There's still quite a lot that needs to be done. Check out what Daniel did yesterday. He sanded all those panels nicely. We're delaying Max because we're handling the process ourselves and keep asking him for information, so he's falling behind on his own work. Sorry, Max.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm really incredibly grateful that we get to learn this from you. It's truly a process we've never done ourselves before. Repair the damage. What are we going to do as the next step?
We're gonna put it in the primer, do some more sanding, mask it off, and then apply the primer.
maybe something very important. Let's check Daniel's sanding work for a moment because,
Definitely. We're definitely gonna check it.
you don't want to find out while the car is being painted. As an intern, I'm just following Max around all day and won't hold him up.
So I'm curious to see how this day will go, guys. As you can see, there's still quite a bit to do on this car before it can be painted in color.
That's why Max starts by sanding the paint. The car has a primer, base color, and clear coat. And before you can actually apply the primer again, you first have to sand down the clear coat. Max is sanding only half the panels to ensure an optimal transition later. After we sanded the bumper, we removed it, and Max immediately continued with degreasing the car.
First, all the paper tape had to be removed, and then Max could use a silicone remover to check if his repair skills worked well.
And was done because this acted as a kind of paint layer, and that way he could see and whether it blended together nicely and if there was no need for any extra sanding work. What is the next step?
We're gonna tape it off now, and we're doing that differently than we did for spraying. For spraying, tape it off this way since you'll be spraying the whole thing. But now it doesn't help us if there's primer here, so now we're taping exactly along the edge.
Almost ready for the first primer coat, just needs a few areas taped off with paper.
And that's what we're going to do now. And after that, Max will just take care of the first coat of primer.
And that means that soon all those filler spots will be one with the doors, so you won't have any islands. It still needs sanding in the right color. First paperwork, then primer, then another sanding. We've prepared everything to apply the primer. Max has checked everything, including Daniel's work. And I have to say, Daniel did a pretty good job. Of course, there were a few spots that needed to be touched up with a little extra layer of filler. But anyway, everything is now ready to be primed. And I'm going to follow Max to the mixing room because that's where we're going to prepare the primer, or no, prepare the base. It really does look very different from the last time we were here, Max. Double building, mixing room changed.
Double cabin.
Double cabin indeed, and here we are.
New mixing room.
This is really the heart of the company, right? Without a mixing room, spraying is tough.
Then things will shoot at me.
Is there a specific ratio, Max?
Yeah, it's 4-to-1.
And how do you actually know how much you need for a car? Is it experience or is it about a liter?
Yes, experience, around 100 grams each.
Yeah, you actually shouldn't make too much because that would be a waste of the rest. So that's basically it, right?
In the worst case, you just have to make a bit more.
So you've either made slightly too little or just enough.
Yes.
That's how I should see it then.
Yes, I think this is enough.
And are you using black soil on purpose now because the car is black?
Yes, definitely. If I use white primer and then we spray it, you'll obviously see spots. That's not so bad with black. It has strong coverage.
Well, the spray gun is ready.
Changing clothes, putting on my spray suit, and degreasing the parts again.
I'm excited, guys. Let's go.
A quick update, Max.
Yeah, everything is ready. So we wait until it's dry, then sand it, and then spray it.
Well, guys, so sick, nice. You really wouldn't say it had any damage, really not at all. It's your first time, right?
Yeah, it's my first time.
And already this good.
Yeah, I'm surprised myself too.
After hours of sanding, it's basically finished.
Because there's only one step left for us, which is wet sanding.
So this process of wet sanding is super important because with it, you remove up to 100% of all the sanding marks that are still left. After wet sanding, we can put the car in the spray booth, mask it, and start painting it. I've actually been looking forward to that all week. Why does this process take so long? Normally, this process might take about 2 days.
And now we're already on day 4. It's actually because we're filming all of this.
And Max also takes his time to explain everything to us clearly and of course to you, the viewers as well. And for that, we're really grateful to Max.
After we finish sanding, we blow the car off with air so it dries faster. Next, we mask the car with paper tape. As you know, water and paper tape don't mix. You want the best possible adhesion. Max grabs a large piece of paper here. He sticks it to the inside of the doors, so you don't get any overspray. Overspray is basically excess paint that ends up in places where it shouldn't.
That's called overspray, and you want to avoid it. Most masking is done now. We'll finish the rest in the spray booth, I think.
With the foils and everything, it's just a matter of starting up, driving in, and letting Max's artwork be done. An important moment is, of course, choosing the color. There's a color code in the door, right?
191, we just checked that. And now we're going to see if the computer recognizes it too. We'll do 3 measurements.
I'm curious, guys. Max really did his best to prevent overspray from getting onto the inside of those panels. He really did that with a lot of paper. This ensures that if overspray gets between the panels, it lands on the paper, not the interior.
Yeah, what a lot of work went into this, guys. What a lot of work. It's now 2:30.
We've been at it again since 9 o'clock this morning, of course, just to get this car inside. Yeah, I'm obviously holding him up a lot too. The result just has to be 100%. Yeah, that just takes time. I'm going to the mixing room for a moment because Max is there. Are these somewhat standard colors or not really?
Yeah, they are for black metallics.
That's true, but you don't see this very often on a Hyundai or a DHL van, right?
Nowadays, it's on all cars, you know?
Yeah, so it's not really a wild option now. Metallic used to be an option, right?
That's right.
And now it's kind of normal. The color is mixed and then it goes, right? What are you doing now?
Yeah, it should be possible, right?
You mean just checking if it's the same color?
Yeah, double check, right?
It looks a bit darker, right?
Yeah, because it's wet now.
Oh, that's it.
It can't get darker than black, right?
No. Here we are in the spray booth. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. The car is first sprayed with the base color, which is that one black color you constantly see on the car. So that's the base. And then it gets a clear coat. So now we're going to start with the base color. This thing is going to look awesome.
And then we'll do one last layer.
And how much time is there between those layers approximately?
Well, about 15 minutes. About 10 minutes. Let's see if it dries well.
Are you happy? Yeah, it turned out pretty well, right? Look here. Of course, it still needs to dry completely.
Notice the mirror effect, guys? We can talk like this. Hello? I'm really happy, guys. We only had the bumper left to do. Unfortunately, we won't be there for that. Because, yeah, Max will do that on another day when we're not around. He might film a few timers, or you could take some shots, but that's probably all. I don't want to interfere with his work.
In the next shot, Don will probably finish assembling the car, then drive it back to the workshop, and I'm so excited, guys. This thing turned out so beautiful, it's unbelievable.
We're standing by a freshly painted GLA45 AMG, and I'm thrilled with the results. The last little things are in the spray booth. They're putting the finishing touches on them now. There was still a bit of dust in a few spots, but Max is expertly removing it now. Look, you can see he's made sanding marks in a few spots. He's gonna polish these spots in a bit as well, then it will be 100% perfect. I'm happy with the result, guys. It looks great.
We don't have much time, so we need to finish assembling the car quickly. Max, are you happy with the 3 stripes being added?
Yes, definitely. Just a few small touch-ups, though.
Yeah, but you always have those, right?
Yeah, you always have those.
Just check how this shines.
Yeah, really? Don?
Yeah, I'm really happy.
Since we brought the Lambo, we knew Max could handle this, but it's actually a Mercedes, not a Lambo.
We're really happy, but I don't think you want to see us right now.
Not for a little while.
And no, I was here all last week. We actually did almost all the sanding ourselves just to keep it out of Max's hands. Let's quickly assemble the Mercedes. Max can't wait for us to leave. I can't wait to drive home full throttle in the AMG. In one color, though.
Nice, wow.
Here you go. The last part that still needs to be installed.
Yes, let's go ahead and do that.
It's time to take the GLA45 AMG apart again and put it back together for the last time. I'm super hyped, of course, just like in every episode. And of course, with a car like this, you can't help but smile. It's still going to take quite a few hours, especially with the smallest things. Those always take the longest.
A few parts have also arrived, like a headlight module, a xenon ballast, and a lot of other small things.
To finish this project, I'm looking forward to it, since the workshop almost looks like an AMG scrapyard. I'll put you guys on a tripod, and we'll just get started. As you can see, I'm taking off the bumper here. We secured this in the paint shop with 2 bolts, so it comes off quickly. And I also had to put the bumper supports back, because that's where you attach the wheel arch. So right now I'm working on the rear diffuser, cleaning it, and basically getting it ready for installation. But I had it in my hands and I heard a really strange rattling sound, and I also heard this at the back of the car. And what I see now is actually just that there's a little stone stuck somewhere right between 2 heat shields. Hey, let me just take out that rattling thing, I think. Just remove the little stone and then it's solved again. An hour later, and I have to say, I've completely put the rear bumper back together. With all the sensors, modules, everything clicked in. Look, these are, for example, the blind spot assistance modules, or sensors, I'm not actually sure. They detect if there are cars in that blind spot, and then it also gives a warning in your mirror. For example, an orange light if it's near, and a red one if it's in your blind spot. For example, I installed all the rivets myself. The rivet is placed at the bottom, like all the others. Yeah, so this is actually a fully assembled rear bumper. One thing's left, but I'll do it last. It's just the piece that clicks in.
Of course, that's been painted and I don't want to damage it, so I'll do that last. I'm going to mount the bumper on the car.
The taillights go back in, wheel wells are secured, and the rear is done. And just like that, the rear is completely put back together. No more rattling at the paint shop and so on. Super nice. The bumper, how everything fits together, perfect. Just check, those turned out super nice too, really. The trim pieces that go here still need to be attached later. But since this will probably come off again later, I'll only stick it on afterwards. We've received all new ones for that. We're about to continue with the front. The front is going to be a bit more complicated than the back. This is everything involved when you want to assemble a front bumper of a GLA45. It's clear the Panamericana grille will be reinstalled and we'll fully fix our headlights with new modules. If all goes well, we'll have a GLA ready here by day's end. I'm excited, guys. Let's go. We got right back to work because, as you can see, the front consists of a lot of parts. We also got a nice original Mercedes carbon lip. To install this, you must first remove the front bumper. Then we loosen the side fenders and remove the headlights, because these will get a new computer and a new xenon ballast, so hopefully they will work after programming. I'll also spray the bumper beam matte black for a moment. Originally, it's gray silver, as you can see here. But I've decided to spray it matte black since the Panamericana grille has quite a lot of large openings, and because of that, the bumper beam is quite visible. It appears glossy black now, but will dry matte black. As I just mentioned, our headlights have arrived. Our own headlight modules are probably broken. The modules are located at the bottom of the headlight, and when it rains, all the water gets into the modules and then they're broken. With us, it's even the case that the pins in our modules are still green. That indicates corrosion. So in our case, we have 2 new modules and a new xenon ballast. I'm playing it safe, so we've managed to get everything brand new. The headlights are next to the car, they're lying there on the ground, so now I'm going to replace the headlight modules and hopefully this will solve our headlight problem. They won't work immediately when I turn on the ignition since they still need programming. For now, we'll replace everything. Let's go. Like I just told you, we actually don't expect the headlights to work, but still, we're going to test it anyway. And then this happened. Look, we've got headlights, guys. I can hardly believe it. I was talking about naturally programming the modules, but this is really strange. They just work. Yep, there it is, the beauty. I'm curious, will the turn signals work too? Yes. The left one works and the right one works. Yes, wow guys, this is fantastic news. Will our CNO headlights work too? Yes, the high beam works too. With the lights confirmed, we immediately began building the front bumper. This takes a huge amount of time since it really consists of hundreds of pieces. So the inner parts of the bumper are riveted together. So we managed to get those rivets and of course we're rebuilding it in the original way. After we put everything together, I installed the carbon lower lip, and just look at this, how beautiful is this? Afterward, we continued at Panamericana Grill. We tried to put this back, but unfortunately it didn't work. It seems like it's meant for a facelift bumper. And we have the pre-facelift. Welcome back, it's a new day here. And just now in the footage, you could see that we were working on installing the Panamericana grill in the front bumper. Unfortunately, this isn't going to work. They cut off all the tabs from the old bumper that's lying here to make the Panamericana grill fit. They glued this one in place too, as I said at the start of the episode. Of course, we're not going to cut off all those tabs on our new bumper, because those tabs just don't line up with the grill. It's like I'm holding it right now. Either this is such a knockoff it doesn't fit, or this grill is only made for the facelift bumper. So yeah, unfortunately we can't install this as much as I would have liked to. What we're going to do now is I've removed the 2 chrome strips that are in that grill. I'm going to wrap these in black for the looks, glossy black. I still have some of that left. That will also change the looks a bit. So we're going to install these and we're just going to finish the car with the parts we already have lying around. The bumper is completely assembled, fully restored to its original condition. All the bolts, screws, zip ties, the wiring, everything is in its original place. Even our collision radar is in the right spot. Before we had of course attached that with double-sided tape, and now it's in its original bracket. The grille on the other hand, I think it looks great all black. It's a bit dusty, but it definitely makes it look tougher than those chrome accents it used to have. I'd say let's hang the bumper, put it back on, because we've come this far, guys. I can hardly believe it. It looks awesome now. Let me know what you think in the comments. I know you dislike it since it's not an original AMG. We're gonna lower the car a bit now. We're gonna hang the bumper. That thing is pretty heavy with everything on it.
We're making it a full GLA.
Wow, guys, just check out how nice the front has turned out. I don't know if you guys noticed, but we also put the AMG logo back on. This one is on the Panamericana grille, and we've now mounted it on the lower side where it actually normally belongs. And I have to say, now that it's a bit black, and with that AMG logo, I actually think it looks really nice. It immediately gets that robust look again. Besides that, we still need to stick the logos on. This isn't really a very difficult process. Although the previous owner, where it's been at least maybe at the workplace, they put the AMG logo and the GLA logo on the wrong side. So the AMG logo, it's supposed to be on the right side of the car, but they put it on the left. How hard can that be? You just go to Google, you type in AMG GLA, and then you can see that GLA45 is supposed to be on the left and AMG on the right. We also ordered an S sticker. As you know, a GLA45S doesn't exist for this model year, only in the newer models from 2021 onwards, I think. But anyway, I don't know if I'm going to stick it on, but one thing I do know is that we're definitely going to put the trim pieces on now. In a few minutes, so stick around. He'll be completely finished. We're going to give him a quick wash because he's gotten pretty dirty. From the drive back home from the press paint shop, so enough talking. We're going to put the wheels on now, put the trim on, and then we're going to head outside for a nice drive. Let's go. The great thing about ordering original parts is that everything has been thought through. So here you have a square point and it fits exactly into your side panel, and you have that in 3 places. So you can't go wrong with how you install this. And also this, you don't have to worry about the adhesive edge. Just go ahead and remove it. It's well designed, which is why I love original parts. As you may have just seen in the footage, I skipped the left rear when installing the trim pieces. That's actually because this is still the old one that was on the car. But we still need to replace all those tape strips. As you know, this is just 3M tape, and we also have 3M tape in the workshop. I'm going to remove this tape and apply new 3M tape, because other than that, it's still completely intact, undamaged. So it would have been an unnecessary expense to buy a new one. Not sure if we said this already, but a trim piece costs 120 euros, so you could save that 120 euros. By just putting a strip of tape on it, that's a nice bonus for your wallet, of course. So just replace the tape strip and then you can put it on, guys. There's only one thing left for us to do. That's putting the logos on the back. Because of how the sticker is made, you already know how to apply it. 'Cause you just follow the white line. With the right line, the sticker won't be crooked. That's a quick tip. Now let's stick them on.
And now we're making the AMG.
Officially AMG. This is the last time it's coming off the lift. After this, it's done. How cool is that? Now that I'm just closing the hood, I realize I forgot the emblem. I still need to put that on. And also the Turbo4matic on the side. I'm working too fast because I want to finish as soon as possible. And then you just forget all those things. So let's put this on quickly, then the emblem, and then we're really done. Okay guys, I just rinsed off the car for a bit because of course I can't do beauty shots while the car is still dirty. We're going to drive it for a bit to dry it off. Oh yeah, now that thing just started beeping, so we still have 2 errors in it. Actually, it's not really an error. I just need to refill the windshield washer fluid and the parking sensors are acting up. The last time we had that dealer computer, we programmed the radar in the front bumper.
Yeah, now it's in a different position again. Actually, it wasn't in the right spot before, and now it's in the correct place in its bracket, so I think it needs to be reprogrammed again.
To get it done. Oh, it sounds really good. Oh, ho, ho. There's crackles in there too, huh? Wow, this thing really... Such a shame that we have to say goodbye to it, and that we probably already have a buyer for this car. But anyway, drive it a little bit dry and then the beauty shots will come one last time just to get it out of our system. This thing, really? It's just like a toy car, really. You want to floor it all day long? I mean, all day long you just want to hit the gas in this thing. What do you guys think? I'm driving to a photo shoot location here in Amsterdam. Suddenly, it tells me to refill the coolant. I'm confused, so I stop immediately. And I left a whole trail of coolant. And how I parked here. You can also see a puddle here. He just pees it out. What went wrong this time? I haven't had issues with this car until now. Now we're suddenly here. Unbelievable. Let's see if it has any coolant. Wow, that's tight. No, it's completely empty. Like, really completely empty. I just don't understand where this went wrong. We had no signs of a coolant leak, but while driving, I suddenly saw a refill coolant warning. He did show windshield washer fluid, but he indicated this in yellow, and my temperature was rising. I thought, no, I have to stop right away. Stop, and so I stopped. I see steam coming from under the hood. Really annoying. I'll call George to see if he answers. Of course, we picked up the car with him too, so let's see if he's available. Yo, Georgie, I need you. I'm here with the stranded AMG. No way, my coolant. It's everywhere. I'm at Sloterdijk.
There are some clips stuck.
No, it seems to be coming from the back of the thermostat housing, but it's okay. You're my first lifeline, so I called you right away.
I'm not there, but it's okay, buddy.
Okay, ciao, George is my lifeline, so that's not gonna work. So we're gonna see who else I can call, because yeah, of course I can't drive back with a car that's losing so much coolant that I'm just leaving a huge puddle behind. Look, it's just lying here, also underneath, just everywhere. You can even see it smoking, as if the car is on fire, but luckily it's not. The people here are super chill. Why I got stranded? They let me take some water, which makes the story better, especially as I pour it in here. It's leaking from the bottom again, so I'll end the episode here. I'll take a few beauty shots for you to show how nice it turned out. Next episode, we'll see what broke. It's a shame it happened last minute, but that's how technology is.
and sometimes it lets you down. We're moving on with the car. So today we have a new challenge again. We're going to fix the GLA. We've researched the source of the leak and found it's likely coming from a thermostat housing. We also asked the dealer if this is something that happens often. And they say that the thermostat and the thermostat housing are indeed quite common issues with this type of car. So if you pick up a thermostat housing at the dealer, you also get 4 intake rubber sealing rings with it. Because you have to remove the whole intake, and that's what makes this plus so gigantic. By gigantic, I mean super labor intensive and also quite expensive if you have it done at the dealer. And that's why we're going to replace the part ourselves, of course. And we'll take you along with us, of course, to show you how much work it's going to be. But why they put such a thermostat housing on the back of the engine, nobody knows. So I was just working on the engine, disconnecting all kinds of hoses, air filter housing, and so on. But I went to check how the thermostat housing is attached, under the intake I should say. And to my surprise, I see that a coolant hose is just disconnected, and this is a coolant hose that's actually attached in a really hard to reach spot. This suggests the thermostat housing may have been replaced before. The hose was never properly installed, so how do we reach it now? Because the subframe is completely in the way, and that's why they also recommend removing the intake. Replacing a thermostat housing is actually a relief for me. But it's quite a complicated little hose, so I think it's still going to be a struggle to put it on. As I mentioned, we had to make significant space to secure the hose clamp from below. To do that, I had to remove the exhaust since my arm needs to go through the subframe where the exhaust is. So to be able to remove the first part of the exhaust, the muffler section had to come off first. And once that was off, we could take the second part out from between the subframe. This gave enough room for my hand to fit through. After creating this space, I tightened the hose clamp with a long screwdriver. It's secure, guys. Unbelievable. We used a different type of clamp than the manufacturer did. The clamp that came off was a pressure clamp. I'm not sure why it flew off, how that's possible. But in our case, we've now put on a screw clamp that works much easier for us. You can also reach it more easily to fasten it. These clamps, they work quite stiff and heavy. But good news, the pipe is in place. What are we going to do now? We're going to lower the car. I'm going to fasten the intercooler pipes again, the coolant pipes to the intercooler. Then we're going to fill it up with coolant to see if it's still leaking. After tightening the hose clamp, I thoroughly cleaned it by spraying brake cleaner and air so that all the drops would go away, because if the drops come back, it means it's leaking. I also went ahead and put all the hoses back so I can fill the system with coolant. Since I only had 2 or 3 liters of coolant left, I decided to buy a 60-liter barrel. And hopefully this is enough to fill up our cooling system. Now we'll find out if it's going to leak out again. Of course, with the proper test, immediately using expensive coolant, it was the case that if you just poured in a little bit, it would come right out. You must have lost over a liter, I think. Now for the fun part. Are we starting it? To start the car, I put the air filter box back in temporarily. Also, our engine control unit is crucial since without it, the car won't start. Just plug in the connector, screw the air filter box shut, and we were ready to start. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, are you ready for a cold start with no exhaust? I am. Are you? Go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and then it's not doing anything. Not unimportant, guys. A battery leg. Take 2. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, are you ready for a cold start without exhaust? He just seems to be the way he is, actually. With this Mercedes, you have 2 places where you can refill coolant. Under the engine cover, you refill the water-to-air intercoolers at the front right of the car. You fill the cooling system with coolant, which is how the car is cooled. And here you can clearly see how the air escapes. The car has been idling for 5 minutes, but still isn't at operating temperature. The thermostat still needs to open, so we'll wait for that. And if everything is fine, of course, we'll put the exhaust back on. And we'll take you along for one last test drive. Hopefully this time it really is the last one. At the end of the series, we still find a hidden modification to the car. That's actually a MagnaFlow exhaust system.
Guys, we just thought this was actually just a custom exhaust welded together by some random person.
And now that we're just hanging it up, we see, hey,
It was pretty dirty, so it wasn't as shiny as it is now.
it just has an extra feature. So funny. That's why we already knew it sounded great and wasn't the original exhaust. This just confirms it. By the way, I'm a bit disappointed in MagnaFlow that they didn't put a really nice badge on the side, like on the pipe itself, because that just stands out more. Like here, but just, yeah, it's here too, you know? Oh, there it is. No, I have no idea. Yeah, with all that said, the bottom is completely done again, right?
Just need to polish the exhaust now. It deserves it.
Alright, we're lowering it now, then we'll test drive and go to the car wash. Yeah, and of course to get those beauty shots I promised you last time. Back then, I had to do it when we broke down on the side of the road. We're now heading to my original location and taking you with us. As always, let's go out with a bang. Okay guys, we just left the workshop, and in a moment we're gonna do a full pull right away, since we're still nearby, you know? In case something shoots off, right?
That's not possible. It's secured with a swivel clamp.
That's true. I don't really get how a pressure clamp, actually a squeeze clamp, works. It actually squeezes itself around the pipe against the temples.
You didn't drive through a hole or anything, did you?
No, they could all see that on the video, right? It was just a straight stretch. Okay, do we see any tracks yet? Are you going to stop for a moment?
I'm going to stop for a moment anyway.
Yeah, engine's still there. What I do notice is during this test drive, because you did take off that battery terminal, right?
Yeah, I think it lasted about 48 hours without the battery terminal.
Yeah, but for me, the last time I went for a drive, every time I drove away during the day, it would say a parking sensor error. Now it doesn't do that anymore, so I think it reset itself.
After removing the battery terminal, now I just need to relearn the collation message.
And yeah, I think that after this test drive, I thought the same thing last time, that the car would just be ready, good to go.
Until you eventually lose the hose.
I'm so happy.
Yes, right?
How many hours went into making that hose?
Yes.
I didn't have to remove the intake, but I did have to loosen a lot of things around it. I might as well have removed the intake. When I reached the thermostat housing, I saw the hose was suddenly off.
Yeah, because that thermostat actually looks pretty recent, right?
Yeah.
We had doubts, like whether it was done recently. We even called the Mercedes dealer.
Although there was coolant everywhere, right? Coolant can also make things shine and clean. So a piece of plastic from that thermostat housing also just looked kind of new again, you know? So yeah, what's the smart thing to do, right?
Yeah, well, now that the hose has been put back, it's not leaking. Exactly. Maybe it will still need fixing later. That thermostat housing is a known manufacturer issue. Let's rinse off the car, test drive it, and take some beauty shots. See you there, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here beside a fully completed project. It was a bit of a struggle today to get the car ready, but here it is. Turned out differently than expected. It's just flawless. Well, I wouldn't say flawless, but it went really well. Of course, it's a shame about the coolant hose that blew off at the end. We just had a good test drive. We installed new mats because small details matter, and as you can see, it looks great. And we're really looking forward to the new project that's coming up now. Because yes, of course, this isn't our biggest or our last project. If you want more content from us, don't forget to subscribe. Give us a thumbs up and let us know in the comments which cars you want to see again. Is it more of this segment, more exotic cars, or more grocery cars? And we'll see each other in the next episode, possibly a new one.
Whether it's the Polo or the Ferrari, I'm not sure, but I'll see you there. Ciao.